These are in listen-only mode.
You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, first day of February, 2021. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. If you can't see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. When you join that way, you'll also have access to the chat box. This allows you to ask questions and participate in the discussion. On the days you're out of your office, away from your desktop, not to worry, point any internet-connected browser to cfrn.net cfrn.net/live. There you'll find a live, real-time simulcast of the show. As it unfolds, you just want to have access to the chat box. We also stream live during this broadcast at youtube.com/CFRN. Not only can you watch the live broadcast there, we've archived over 1,600 daily live broadcasts. This is the oldest daily live E-mini broadcast on the internet. We started in April of 2005. Now, in the beginning, we were simply a podcast, and I love podcasts, so I'm not talking down to the podcast. That's where we got our beginning. But around 2011, we added video. So every show, since we started streaming the show with video, you'll find it at youtube.com/CFRN. And what's really interesting is after you watch today's show, if you scroll back a week, a month, or a year or two, you'll find us using the same language, the same principles, the same indicators, the same everything. Now, some might say, well, that makes you guys pretty boring. We're okay with that. As a trader, boring is good. If you're looking for excitement, if you're looking for an adrenaline rush, go do skydiving or something. This is a business. The more you treat it like a business, the more it will behave like a business. If you treat it like gambling, you'll get gambling type results. Now, if you happen to be listening to this broadcast after the fact as a podcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of the popular podcast platforms, all you got to do, if you want to see the charts, just hit pause on your podcast player. Jump over to youtube.com/CFRN. Bring up today's date, which is February the 1st, 2021. And you'll have the benefit of both audio and video. So let's get the party started with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your blessings, for your mercy, and for your grace. We come to you today asking for your presence during this broadcast. We ask for your guidance and for your wisdom. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group. We ask that you would nurture the bonds of community, this ever-growing family that you have created. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect all of our members, our staff, and anyone who happens to be in the audience right now or listening to this broadcast after the fact. And we ask, God, that you continue to remind us that everything we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys, happy Monday, first day of February. I'm going to give you the numbers from around the world, the cash markets, the indices, as they're called. We got lots to talk about today. As soon as I give you these numbers, Michael will pop in and give us a recap of everything that happened this morning in the live training room. Currently, the Dow up 222 points. NASDAQ up 286. That's a little over 2%. S&P 500 up 53. That's a gain of 1.5%. And the Russell 2000 up 26. That's a gain of 1.25%. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 87 cents, trading 53.07 last. That's a gain of a little over 1.5%. Gold up $15.10, trading 18.6240 last. That's a gain of almost 1%. And silver, hi-ho. We've been talking about silver now for an awful long time. when the price of silver goes up $1, if you own physical silver and silver goes from $25 to $26, you made $1. And there's nothing wrong with that because you own that silver. With a futures contract, it's a little bit different. There's this thing called leverage, okay? If you own the large silver contract and the price of physical silver goes from $25 to $26, that's worth $5,000. Now the pendulum swings both ways. So if you're on the right side of that trade, then that's a gain of $5,000. If you're on the wrong side, well, you can do the math. So you got to be very careful with silver. It is extremely volatile. Right now, silver is up on the session $2.04, trading $28.95 last. That's a gain of almost 8%. Now, last year, I shared an idea that silver had the potential to go from $25 to $50 by March. Whether we make it there by March or not still remains to be seen. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I know that the technicals and even the fundamentals are in place for such a thing to happen. Now, silver has been to $50 twice in history. This time, I don't think we're going to stop. And again, this is just some guy on the internet's opinion. I don't think we stop at 50. We may have initial resistance there. We may have a retracement. But ultimately, we break 50, hold it on a pullback. There's an awful lot of upside potential. And right now, there's a lot of speculation in the market. You're going to, if you open the Wall Street Journal, you're going to hear about the silver squeeze, how there is no physical silver to be bought, etc., etc. So be careful. It's easy to get caught up in the hubris and the enthusiasm. So before you do anything rash, I suggest that you speak with a licensed investment professional before making any investment decision. Now, the one I know and the one I trust is Bert Schlichter at Daniels Trading, and his number, write this down, 866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. He is a licensed investment professional, and he is he works for Daniels Trading, which is the firm that we've been with since 2008, I believe it is. So silver up $2 on the session so far. So if a $1 move is worth $5,000, a $2 move, well, you figured it out, it's worth $10,000. But remember, it's extremely volatile and the pendulum swings both ways. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a gain of 427 points, 1.5%. The Shanghai rose 22 points. The Hang Seng gained 609, and that's a gain of a little over 2%. In the European markets at the close, FTSE up 59, DAX up 189, and the CAC up 62. So for the DAX, that's a gain, well, the FTSE is a gain of 1%, the DAX 1.5%, and the CAC a little over 1%. So it's a green day in Asia, green day in the UK, and it's a big green Radio Monday, first day of February here in the US of A. With that, let's go to Michael, get a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. When I come back, we'll cover all of the alerts, the logic alerts, the concierge trade alerts. We'll talk about GameStop and silver and all the stuff going on out there in the world today. All right, Michael, I see your charts. It's all yours.
Okay. Excellent. All right, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the first day of February 2021. Yeah, so we had another big day today. Most of it was on the ES. I'll get into all that in just a few minutes. But we'll go through the spreadsheet first. Now, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, as I said, is the first day of February 2021. We made 15 ticks in crude, 9 ticks in gold, and 80 ticks on the ES. Put us plus $1,240 per contract per 2-hour trading day this morning. Today it took 10 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $150 a contract, and we took a total of 23 trades. So on the month now, we're only 1 day in, so we're up $1,240 a contract. And that's over 1 day, averaging $1,240 per contract per day. Now that's going to change. But on the year now, we're at day number 20 on the year, and we're at $15,575. So that's averaging $778 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Again, guys, these are unprecedented times. We've never had a daily average like that this far into the year. Now, let's go here. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go to the home page at cfrn.net. And right here on the home page, it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that, and you'll be brought to this page. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Okay, you can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you, and then hit the send button. Once you hit that send button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link, okay? If you don't click the confirmation link, you don't get the free trial because we don't know you took the free trial until you click that link, all right? Now, let's get into the actual trades. All right, so we had a few here on gold today, about 6, looks like. And there were a bunch that set up that I didn't get because the ES was moving around so much. I was a lot focused on that. It started out here. There was one here that I missed, a shorting opportunity right in there that I missed, then a long opportunity right here that I missed, another long opportunity there and there that I missed, and another short right here that I missed. And that was all in the first 10 minutes. Then we finally grabbed the break even right there. And our next trade was right here. We picked up 10 ticks on that one. Missed a long right there that would have been a break even. A short here that would have been a break even. A long there that would have had some profit. A long there that would have been a break even. Then finally we stopped out right here. That put us down to +2. Okay, we missed a short there, there, and there. I was explaining these as we missed them. And here we picked up a couple of ticks to put us at +4. And we had a break even there, and we picked up 5 more right there to put us at +9 on the morning session. Okay, then going into the close, looks like there was a long right here. I was trying to draw the trend line just right, and I don't think that's right because you see there's a little bit of a wick sticking up right there. So I think the way that this trend line should have been drawn was like this, right there, and there would have been no trade in there. There was a long here that would have been profitable had we taken it, a short here that would have been profitable, another short here that would have worked out, another one here that would have worked out. That was during the break, right at the beginning of the break anyway. A long there that would have worked out, another long right here, and one more right in here, and one more right there. Now what I'm looking at here when I say there's one here and one here and one there, I'm looking at the trend lines that I'm not actually drawing for you. I'm just eyeballing them, seeing where the trend lines would have been had I drawn them, where the trades would have been had you drawn them. You see, we broke dynamic resistance right there, so we could take this one. Broke the trend line, broke the trend line, broke the trend line. And some of these, like right in here, if the cycle is the right color and you got separation, and you hit the BBC. We didn't actually hit the BBC on this one, but if you did hit the BBC, then that would be a bounce off the BBC. There were a couple of those earlier on where it did actually hit the BBC, like right here. Did hit the BBC, we had bearish separation and the cycle was the right color. So that would be a nice shorting opportunity right there. But that was gold this morning. We ended up with +9 on gold. Now crude would be a little faster to go through because we only had a few trades on crude. Our first one was right here. We had a break even. Then we missed this one. We missed that one. We missed that one. Then finally we picked up 5 ticks on this one right here. and we picked up 10 ticks on this one right here. Put us at plus 15 on the morning session. We missed this long right here. It would have been a break-even trade for me had I taken it. And during the break, and actually active right now, there's a shorting opportunity off the BBC right here. Okay. As far as trades during the break go, there was a long right there and right there. Now what I'm looking at when I say that is to close above that trend line with bullish separation down here, and to close above this trend line with bullish separation down here. Okay. Now the ES, we had, how many trades do we have? I think 13 trades on the ES. Not too many break evens, all things considered. We missed a bunch of trades, but we'll get into that here. Okay, so here we go. Started out right here with a shorting opportunity at 932. I missed that. There was a YBR trade there as well. Turned around, gave us a long opportunity right here. I missed that. There was a YBR trade there as well. YBR trade here. Looks like it gave another shorting opportunity right in here. And the YBR trade, another YBR trade, and a long opportunity off the BBC right there that would have been a break even. Where did I start trading this thing? Hold on. Oh, I am missing like my first half an hour's worth of marks. Anyway, our first trade on the ES was plus 12. Our second trade was plus 4. Our third trade was plus 14. Our fourth trade was plus 10. Now that put us at plus 40, all right? Then we had a plus 4, which I think brings us in here to put us at plus 44. Now I can start from the back and move forward. Or backward, as the case may be. Okay, right here we picked up 4 ticks. That put us at plus 80. Right here we picked up 4 ticks. That put us at plus 76. The one before that was a big one, yeah, right here. We went from 56 to 72, so that was a 16 tick trade right there. The one before that was a 4 tick trade right there. And we missed one there. Had a break even there. The one before that was a 4 tick trade right there. We missed that one. And the one before that we missed, would have been a nice trade. That one too, had we gotten them. This was a YBR trade as well, and a bounce off the BBC. That one had it all going. And we missed that short right there, which would have been a nice profitable trade. Picked up 4 ticks here. That put us at plus 48. We missed that one. 4 ticks there to put us at plus 44. You see how I was doing this 4 ticks at a time most of the time? We had a mistrade right there that would have been a break even had I gotten it. And that brings us back here. So before that, we had a plus 10, we had a plus 14, and a plus 12. So those are the 3 trades that are missing in here. And that was our day on the ES, so I had to do it backwards to front. But we ended up with plus 80 on the ES. And you know, it was an interesting morning. There was a lot of opportunity, and you know, I wasn't afraid to take the plus 4s as often as they were coming. I was happy to lock in 4 ticks whenever I could. And right now it's getting a little bit choppy in here. So you got to be careful. You just got to be careful in here right now as we get into the lunchtime period here. Crude oil had a short right here off the BBC, and it's pulled back, and it's confirming the short off the BBC here. Now this might have stopped you out 98 up to 06. Probably would have stopped you out if you got in right there at 98. Gold over here is given a potential long. Okay. And I just wanted to mention that we did something today that we don't usually do. You know, after I finished in the morning session, Dwayne and Valerie came on and went over some other stuff. I'm trying to incorporate all the stuff that we do together. And they recorded it. I'm not sure where the recording is going to go, but at some point we'll make that recording available to people so you can see how to put all the pieces together, all the CFR pieces. Okay. All right. So with that, I am going to go back here. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage at cfrn.net. Right here it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that. It's going to bring you to this page, eMiniTrainingSchool.com. All we ask for on this page is your name, your email, your phone number. You can tell us to be this trading channel so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button. You'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click that link, you don't take the free trial because we don't know you took the free trial. All right, spreadsheet. Once again, I gotta go back and put a couple of things back in there. But if you're gonna read the spreadsheet, you gotta read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. And I want to be on the spreadsheet here. Let's see. Hang on. The phone is buzzing. Oh, okay. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. As I said, today's the first day of February 2021. Made 15 ticks on crude, 9 ticks on gold, and 80 ticks on the ES. Put us at plus 1240 on the morning session. Today it took 10 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $150 a contract, and we took a total of 23 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're up $1,240. That is over one business day, averaging $1,240 per contract per business day. Now on the year, we're at $15,575. That's over 20 business days, averaging $778 per contract per 2-hour business day. Okay. That's where we stand on the day, on the month, and on the year. So with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready. I'll check my emails from Val.
I am ready.
Hey, Dwayne.
Okay.
Good. I see
All right.
your screens.
Recap of the recap.
Today it took 10 minutes and 2 trades to get to $150 per contract.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, for those who might be tuning in from the land of where people talk about, oh, I beat the market today for 10 points or 20 points or whatever the case, that's another world. There are any number of, for as many traders as there are in the world trading the S&P 500, as an example, there's that many different ways that you can approach trading the market. One of the most important things when you become a trader, number one, you need a definable edge, you need a business plan, you need a trading plan, but you also need realistic expectations. And when you're brand new to trading, you really don't know what is realistic and what isn't. So all of the sexy, seductive, web clever ad copy that make all sorts of outrageous claims, that can cause a new trader to set their bar of expectations, way too high. And what happens is as you're chasing that pie in the sky, you become discouraged, depressed, and broke. So we approach it a little bit differently. We want to make sure that you start out with a definable edge, with a time-proven strategy, and realistic expectations. So in the morning in the room, the goal is simply $100 per contract. Now, it doesn't mean you can't trade more, it doesn't mean you can't get more points, but there's never a day, since I started trading futures in 2005, there's never been a day that the S&P 500 did not give multiple opportunities to take 2 points out of the market. 2 points in the S&P is $100 per contract. And you might say, well, that's great, but I couldn't live on $100 a day. This is why our 2420 blueprint, which all new members get, walks you through not only writing your business plan and your trading plan, but it's also designed to help you go from 1 to 20 contracts over a period of 24 months. In the beginning, you don't trade live. You trade in the simulator, in the demo account, while you're learning the strategy. Your goal is to put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. Once you accomplish that, the blueprint then gives you the green light to go live with 1 contract. Now you have a new goal because you're trading with real money. Your new goal is to increase your account balance, whatever it is, by $2,000. Once you accomplish that, the blueprint gives you the green light to add a second contract. When you add the second contract, that does a lot because you're adding it with profit you earn in the market. So the same 2 points that paid you $100 a day will now pay you $200 a day. The blueprint will tell you when it's time to add contract number 3, number 4, number 5. Walks you up the ladder, 1 contract at a time. And so the profits that you earn trading 2 contracts will be used to add the 3rd contract. The profits you earn trading 3 will underwrite number 4, and what you do trading 4 will underwrite 5. By the time you make it to 5 contracts, the same 2 points, the same 2 points that the S&P gives you the opportunity to take out of the market over and over and over, day after day after day. Once you hit 5 contracts, that's $500 a day. That's a pretty decent living for most folks. If you continue to climb the ladder, when you hit 10 contracts, the same 2 points that once made you $100 a day can now make you $1,000 a day. Obviously, if this were easy, everybody would do it. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. So in the room every morning for 2 hours, Michael teaches you the underlying strategy, the method that we use, the indicators, how to read the chart. Everything that we do and teach is fluid across all markets, all time frames. So let's say you're in the room, and I think Michael shows 3 charts now. Maybe the market that you like to trade is not one of those. That's okay, because we use the same principle, same indicators, same strategy, same everything on a S&P chart, a crude chart, a gold chart, a pork belly chart. Daily chart, 30-minute chart, hourly chart, 1-minute chart, range chart. Everything we do is fluid across all markets and all time frames. So you could watch videos of Mark Spitz swimming every day for a year, and at the end of the year, if somebody throws you in the deep end of the pool, the first thing you're going to do is sink because you don't know how to swim. But I watched all these videos and he made it look so easy. Well, for him it is easy because he knows how to swim. The only way to learn how to swim is by swimming, which means you got to get in the water. And so the same is true of trading. You can watch videos of somebody trading or even sit in our live training room, till the cows come home. But that's not going to teach you how to trade. You got to get in the water. You got to fire up that demo account, that simulator. You've got to start putting on and taking off trades. Yes, you're going to make mistakes. Yes, you're going to get stopped out. Good news is it's the demo account. So while there is real-time data, it's not real money. Okay? This is where you want to fall down, skin your knee, all that kind of stuff. Okay? Now, every day, what Michael teaches you in the room, you have an opportunity to put to work by following the alerts. Our alert channel opens Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, and it remains open around the clock till Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. Most people think of trading as a 9:30 to 4 Eastern kind of a thing. Those are the hours Wall Street is open. One of the many things that we like about futures, you could trade futures around the clock, from Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern till Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. So we just started week 131 last night. Since then, that's one of our members there, Jake, just put together 8 points. Good job, Jake. Okay. Since Sunday night, last night, 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued 20 alerts. 5 never triggered. Still waiting on the results of 6. So far, we've had 9 actionable alerts. So far, nothing has stopped out. Now, the risk profile for the alert trades, we don't want to risk more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible, based on market structure and the very simple 3-step methodology that I teach all of our traders. On a typical week, 20% of alerts will get stopped out. Now, let's take a look at the alerts from last night. Now, the time that you see on my screen up here, that's Mountain Standard. I'm in Phoenix. So 8 months out of the year I'm on Mountain Standard, and 4 months out of the year I'm on Mountain Standard. 8 months out of the year I'm on Pacific. So this is 6:02 p.m. Eastern. So the first alert coming out of the gate was to sell the S&P. This was alert number 6,348. Sell the S&P at 36.79. Initial target 36.77. That's those 2 points. Okay. Now, you can call it a day right there if you want. If you want to remain in the trade, the second target, 36.75, PS stands for potential support. On a short trade, the additional targets will be called potential support. And then we had potential support at 36.65. Each alert will have a final trade to target, except in the rare instance like this, on Sunday night, we were actually below the lowest weekly trading zone last week. Last week's lowest weekly zone was 37.41/42. That's why there isn't a final trade to target here, WTZ. Our weekly zones are published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. We've published those. Is that you, Michael?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No problem. We publish the zones every Monday since December 14th, 2009. It's really important to get the zones on your chart as soon as they're published because they serve as fixed support and resistance for the entire week. Okay? So let's just take a quick look at that particular, the first one that came out last night. Let's have a look. S&P, 30 minutes. Okay. Now, if you were tuned into the show Friday, the last alert for the week was here, and it triggered on Friday, gave us our 2 points, and then I published in the discussion group in Telegram that on the Sunday night open, if we open lower, which we did, we got lower in the open, then that final alert from Friday would still be valid. And it took us right down to an old, or to a current weekly trading zone at 36.57/58. So the entry, the opening candle last night was right here where you see that gap. I failed to put out a gap fill alert last night. I was busy doing other things. I apologize, but all of our members who've been around any length of time know that one of our favorite go-to trades is the Sunday night gap fill. Because futures trade around the clock, you don't see a lot of gaps. Sunday night, you see one almost every Sunday night. And in earnings season, when the market reopens at 6 p.m. Eastern each evening, you see last night started the Monday session. So the Monday session will end this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then the Tuesday session will start tonight, Monday night, at 6 p.m. Eastern. So this alert was to be short, 36.79 to 77 to 75 to 65. So 36.79 right there. And then the initial target was right below it, 2 points, 36.77. Second target was 36.75, right there. And then the final target on this one was 36.65, which is right there. $36.65. Hey Garrett, if you're tuned in and you want to come on, just pop in. I saw you pop up on my caller ID, but I wasn't able to. So final target, 36.65. So pop on in about 30 minutes if you're listening. Okay, so from 36.79, 79 to 65, that's 14 S&P points. And if I break out my calculator, we all know the answer, but 14 times 50, the S&P pays $50 a point. That's a $700 per contract move. Once you've earned the right to trade 2 contracts, from the entry to the final target, it's $1,400. Once you've earned the right to trade 5 contracts, that's $3,500. Once you've earned the right to trade 7 contracts, that's $4,900. Okay, and the cost of the CFRN passport, lifetime membership, $5,000. To be exact, $49.97. Okay, so you're not going to trade live though when you first become a passport holder, when you become a member, when you have lifetime membership. If you're going to follow the plan the way it's laid out, you're going to start in the simulator. You're going to put together 10 consecutive days in a row. Then you'll go live with 1. Increase your account balance by $2,000. Use that profit to add a second contract. Use profits there to add the third, the fourth. So, just as an example, this trade with 7 contracts pays for the passport. And we don't have any upsells. We don't have any recurring monthly fees. We don't insult your intelligence with some new breakthrough discovery every other week that you have to purchase. None of that. No upsells. None. Once you purchase a passport, you have lifetime membership to everything we do. That's the live training room every day, the indicators, the alerts, the weekly zones, everything. So then we had an alert on the Dow, which Z's means it never triggered. And then we had a short on the Russell. And then we had a short on the NQ and crude. Those never triggered. We had a long on gold from 1867. B is buy, T is initial target. The final Trade to target was the weekly zone from last week, 1870/71. So from the entry to the final target, $300 per contract traded. Here's silver, long, 28.80. Initial target, 28.82. Next target, 29.10. Final trade to target was $30. When silver moves $1 in price, in other words, when it goes from 28.80 to 29.80 with a large contract, that's worth $5,000. One contract, not 7, not 5, not 3. One contract, when price goes from 28.80 to 29.80, it's $5,000. I might have mentioned the passport is $5,000. So let's peek at the silver chart. Okay. So the entry on that trade, it was 28.80. Which is right here. I drew that line all the way across because important prices, important areas are almost always tested, which means you're getting a second opportunity to trade that. 28.80. Okay, that's pretty close. So the alert said to be long, 28.80. The final trade to target was $30. So we triggered once, made it up to 29.25. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. So we get back below the trigger, trigger again. On the second trigger, we made it all the way up to actually a swing high of 30.35. But the final trade to target, final target, was $30. Okay, now this isn't a woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of a thing. This alert came out in real time at 6:11 p.m. Eastern. Okay, now from 28.80 to 29.80, that's a $1 move in the price of silver. So right there. $5,000 per contract traded. Every CFRN passport holder had an opportunity to trade this. You literally could have paid for your passport last night with one trade. And that's a lifetime membership. No recurring monthly or annual fees, nothing else to sell you, no breakthrough discoveries, none of that garbage, none of that stuff that insults your intelligence. So then we had short on the S&P that never triggered. Russell never triggered. Still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. This was a long on crude oil. Now the reason it says hedge, we had originally published a short on crude, which is here. The short never triggered, okay? And so we hedged that with a long, and there it is, 52.30 to 50. I'll show you on the chart why that was the target. One of the reasons is it's a current weekly trading zone. Okay, but there's other reasons, and I'll show you. And then here's another long on gold. 3 long, 1867, 68, 70. It's a $300 per contract trade. Now, $18.67 to $18.68 to $18.70. That happened 9 minutes after the open, 6:09 p.m. Eastern. That's when I published this. I always give you time to finish what you're doing. When you hear the telegram sound on your phone or your PC, I give you time to finish what you're doing, get to your computer, put on your thinking cap, your trading cap, look at the chart. It's so important you look at the chart as you look at the alert. And if you're new, then you place the trade in your simulator. Okay? Now, you always hear me say important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So that trade is identical to that trade. It did the same thing all over again. And so all of that, everything you just saw, happened Sunday night. That brings us into today, Monday morning, February the 1st. Had a long on the NQ. Now the entry was 13,117. Initial target 27, 37, 47, 13,310. Final trade to target still overhead at 13,352. But from the entry at 117 to 161, oh, that's roughly, we'll call it 40 points. Fair enough? It's a little more than that, but we'll call it 40. The NQ pays $20 a point. So that's $800 per contract traded. Let's just see where the NQ sits right now. Now, this one came out this morning. Okay, we've already finished Sunday night. Now we're into Monday. So we had a long at 13,117. Right there. Now, right here, see this bearish cross? See how price got there? Ran into trouble. Resistance. So the bearish cross not only helps you when you're trading over here, but when price returns to that area over here, it's there to help you again. So there was resistance. We had a pretty sizable retracement. Buyers came in. They were able to power us through that resistance. And our final trade to target on that trade is up here, 13,352. Which is a current weekly trading zone. So from where we sit right now, and bring my calculator back up, 13,244, 13,244, minus the entry, 13,117, it's 127 NQ points at $20 a point, $2,540 per contract traded. Here's the trade. We're at 248, so we've already hit first target. Hang in there, Jake. second target, third target, still working on the fourth target at 13,310. There's the final trade to target. But so far, if you entered here and you exited right here, right where we are right now, with one contract, $2,540 per contract traded. If you've earned the right to trade 2 contracts, this trade just paid for your passport. Lifetime membership. Okay. All right. After that, we had a short on gold. We've rolled to the J contract. Still waiting. Still waiting. There's a long on the S&P. A fresh one that just came out. It's the last alert I posted this morning. So go back to the ES chart. There we go. Oh, when I was in trade mode on the demo account, I was showing some of our trial members how to use trade mode before this session started. And so I just threw a number out there. So it just happened to trigger. So this wasn't a planned event, and it is a demo account. So the entry for this trade is 37.58. Initial target 37.60. That right there, that's your 2 points. If your goal is to simply take 2 points a day out of the market, go live life, let your profits accrue so that you can afford the second contract and then the third. There's your 2 points. The second target is 37.68, which we just hit. Okay. Next target would be 37.73, and 76, and 88, and then the next weekly trading zone. Price is always trying to get to a weekly trading zone. Either the zone above or the zone below. And the way you tell is where price is in relation to the BBC. If it's above the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. If it's below the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. Okay? So if we continue higher, let's see, what are we at now? 68. So we made it to, let's see, 37. 37.68 minus the entry at 37.58. Well, that's pretty simple. That's 10 points. At $50 a point, that's $500 per contract traded. If we make it to the final target, 38.15 minus the entry at 37.58. Let me try that again. 38.15 minus 37.58. That'll be a total of 57 points if we make it to the final target. Now, of course, at this alert, as with all alerts, they're issued well before they trigger. I build in time for you to get to your chart, study the alert, study your chart. Because remember, our goal is not to just give you alerts that you can trade and make money, which, you know, I know some people just do that, but shame on them, because not only do they have an opportunity to make money off the alerts, they also have the opportunity to learn how to trade, to learn how to find these opportunities themselves. Now, if you are just following somebody else's signals and alerts and trading them, okay, that doesn't make you a trader. Now, I don't mean to insult anybody, but it doesn't. It just means that you're able to copy somebody else's idea. We want more than that for you. We want you to be able to learn how to find these opportunities yourself, which is why I go through painstaking detail every afternoon on this broadcast, and especially in the one-on-one mentoring sessions. As a passport holder, not only do you have access to the group room every morning for 2 hours a day, every trading day. You also have access to unlimited one-on-one mentoring sessions. So anything that you aren't able to get your arms around during the 10 hours a week of group training, you can book a session with myself, with Michael, with Valerie, as often as you need, and we'll go over it till the clouds part and you can see the light of day. Okay, so currently price has made it to the second target, 10 points, $500 per contract traded. If it goes all the way to the final target, that's 57 points at $50 a point. That would be $2,850 per contract traded. And I am looking in, did you, Kirk, I see, oh, Kirk is not here. Mike R. has a question. Dwayne, do you guys have any opinion, recommendations on any trading funding companies like TopStep or Lilu? Well, Mike, I don't like to speak. We make it, it's been a policy since we started. No hate speech. We don't allow it in our discussion group. We don't allow it in our training room. And so I'm not going to speak bad about any particular company. But I will say this. I have yet to meet, and I know a lot of traders. A lot of traders pass through our doors. Some stay, some don't, whatever. I know a lot of traders. I have yet to meet a trader who got funded by one of these funding companies and it stuck. Here's the business model. We charge you to train you, and we do promise to fund you at some point once you, there's different terms, there's combines and all kinds of other things. And again, let me just leave it at that. I've yet to meet a person who got funded and stayed funded. Now let me explain why. Let's say you're a wealthy guy, okay, and you've got money, and you'd like somebody to trade that money and multiply some of your money. Who would you rather hire? An experienced professional trader with a multi-year history and track record? Or would you feel more comfortable handing that money over to somebody who just learned how to trade? Actually, somebody who's in the process of learning how to trade. So, I don't want to speak bad about any one individual company. I just, until someone proves different, I have to say that's a flawed business model. Okay? So, I said that with Christian love, no hate speech. I do know some people that have had their hearts broken and their dreams shattered again and again and again. Here's the bottom line, okay? Put together $5,000 to get a passport. Now, and yes, this is shameless self-promotion. I'm hyping my own company, okay? So put together $5,000 to get a passport. It's a lifetime membership. Not only will we teach you everything we know, but we'll always be there to support you. Round the clock, 24/7, 365. Okay? Then, once you have your passport and you're trading in the simulator and you're in learning mode, now start saving some money so that you can fund your live account with at least $3,000. I prefer to see you fund it with $5,000, but again, we're not a brokerage firm. So you're not depositing that money with us. We never have any control over your funds. You can open an account with any brokerage firm. The only one that I know and trust, I mentioned earlier, Daniels Trading. They're not a part of CFRN. Okay? If you open an account with Daniels Trading, we don't get a finder's fee. We don't get a split of the commissions. The reason that we recommend them is not only because we use them, but because of a man named Bert Schlichter. Okay? He's a broker at Daniels Trading. I've known a lot of brokers over the course of my life, both when I was trading stocks and since I started trading futures. I have never come across a broker who gives out his personal number to his clients. Typically, if you're going to call your broker, you're going to get some administrative assistant who's going to try to answer your questions, and that person may have or may not have ever actually placed a trade. In fact, when you ask questions, you can hear them flipping through the manual, trying to find the answer to your question. If you put up enough of a fuss, you might actually get to speak to a licensed broker. Depends on the company, okay? Bert makes himself accessible. Not only is he accessible to your phone calls, he's accessible in Telegram, and most days he hangs out in the live training room with us. He uses our methodology, our strategy, our indicators. When you call and ask for help or message him and ask for help, he speaks the same language that you do. When you say BBC or red and falling or blue and climbing or the trend line or the weekly trading zone, he knows exactly what you're talking about. He's on the same page. They're not the cheapest broker out there, by far. They're also not the most expensive. You've often heard you get what you pay for, okay? If you want that type of individualized, focused, laser-focused help that you need to succeed as a trader, you get it from us on the educational side, but then the other side of the equation is the brokerage side, okay? Having a broker who is available and who will help you. He'll even sit with you in the training room, help you spot setups, help you understand the indicators. If you're having trouble with your charting platform or getting your indicators indicating, he's always there to help you. So enough with the plug. That's what I think about that question. And thank you for asking the question, because you asking that question in this public broadcast hopefully has saved a lot of folks listening a lot of heartache and woe. Now, again, I keep an open mind. I'm always on the lookout for that company who offers that kind of service, who actually has funded traders who got funded and it's stuck, and they have a verifiable track record of any kind, right? Because anybody can post anything on the internet. How many times have you ever gone to some website and you read glowing testimonials, but you got to wonder who wrote them? Now, they could be positive or negative, but you got to wonder who wrote them. And that's part of the reason we do something very unique, in that we open our discussion group to even trial members. You don't have to take my word for it or Michael's word for it or Valerie's word for it. You get to go in there. You can actually chat with traders just like you who are currently learning how to trade using our methodology and our strategy. Now, our method and our strategy, I'm not saying that's the only way to learn how to trade. I'm just saying it's our way. It's what we do and how we do it. We're transparent, we're affordable, and we're available round the clock. And here's some guys talking about the truth about trading. See, they're popping up because I have this up. Also posting losing trades allows us to examine. Well, here, let's just go right to the discussion. Let's scroll up to where it started. 8+ points, even on the day. Good job, Jake. You see how our guys respond when somebody has a good trade? Nobody shoots them down. Nobody scorches them. We congratulate them. It's a positive, affirming environment. Good job, Jake. Well done, Jake. And we're polite. Jake said, thank you. Joseph, good job, Jake. Better than being a loss for the day, that's for sure. And then Jake says, I feel vulnerable sharing that I was down, as most share only the gains, but I felt that it might be helpful. Thank you very much for sharing. Let's see, I feel vulnerable. Joseph says, no, don't be afraid to share winners and losers. This is very important, guys, because getting stopped out is as much a part of trading as breathing is a part of life. And I'm telling you, these websites you go to that put these unrealistic expectations in your head, that tell you they found a way you'll never get stopped out again, come on. Hopefully you understand by now that's not possible. It defies the laws of physics, science, even God. It's important for others to realize we all have losing trades. I show them myself sometimes. It helps people not think that they are alone in having losses or that something is wrong with them. That's so important. Trading is a lonely business. So even after you learn the methodology and learn the strategy, okay, you've still got a place to come and hang out where other people speak. Have you ever tried to talk to your brother-in-law at Thanksgiving about trading? He just gives you this vacant look, shakes his head, and, you know, mumbles under his breath. Poor sap. Yeah. Talk to your brother-in-law about something he's interested in. Baseball or football or hockey, whatever. When you want to talk trading, come talk to people who speak your language in a supportive environment. After posting losing trades allows us to examine them and maybe give some feedback on whether it was a trade that should have been taken or not. See, that's really important. Most traders, when they get stopped out, they have no idea why. They think they're cursed, or the market's out to get them, or their office is bugged, there's a camera or a microphone somewhere. It's not true. And it's so easy to fall into that trap, that thought trap, okay? Here, you got people to encourage you. Posting losing trades allows us to examine them, maybe give some feedback on. See, we have specific rules for engagement. In the live training room, our mechanical model has super specific rules for engagement. Our discretionary model, which is what you see me going through here with the alerts, there are also guidelines, okay, all based on the underlying strategy that Michael and Valerie teach you every morning in the live trading room. The difference between what we do in the room and what we do with the alerts is simply the time frame, the potential profit, and the amount of money that we're willing to risk on any given trade. Joseph goes on to say, remember, we don't poke fun at others who are struggling. We are here to lift up folks and help them attain their trading goals. I didn't ask anybody to write this. Okay, I have no control over what these people post. Now, if you come in here and act ugly, right, and say anything that's, out of line, we will delete your post. We will ask you to behave. And if you don't, then unfortunately we will have to ban you. So, because we want to keep this a positive, upbeat environment. We're not blowing smoke up anybody's chimney, because these are real people, real trade people just like you who are sitting in your chair, whether it's a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. Some people have been following us since 2005 when we started CFRN. Jake says, true. Thanks for that, Joseph. I appreciate and am encouraged following your journey as you have shared good times and tough times, giving testimony to Jesus as you go. Keep it up. Thanks, Jake. Now, we take a lot of heat for this. I knew it coming in when I decided to call this company the Christian Financial Radio Network, because remember, back in the day, when we started in 2005, we did a live broadcast, but it was audio only. Christian Financial Radio Network. I did terrestrial radio before I launched this internet radio station, which is what it was at the time, audio. And by the way, we stream the gospel 24/7, 365. We have since 2005. The radio server is down for maintenance, which I'll have fixed and back online this afternoon. But the daily live broadcast, Michael and I used to do the broadcast before we had video. Now, all of our members had their own charts, and so we had our charts, and we could talk, and our members knew what we were talking about, but the world at large had no clue because they couldn't see anything. Thank you, YouTube. Now, I said this at the beginning of the show, but if you missed that somehow, if you're listening to this after the fact as a podcast, hit pause on the podcast player and point your browser to youtube.com/CFRN. And then go to today's show, click play, you'll see the entire broadcast with video. Thanks for sharing. Thanks, Dwayne. I appreciate you guys. Hal pipes in. Hey, Jake and Joseph. Good reading your posts on everything. This is a great bunch I've connected to. It really is a great group. Glad you were here. Okay. So, enough patting ourselves on the back. Price is at a target. And let me just get out of this because it was never meant to be. It's down 25 bucks. It's a demo account. The only reason there was a trade here on the demo account is because I was training some people how to use trade mode before the show started. So we'll just get out, and we're out. Okay, so we're back to this. All right. So why, you might ask, is one of the targets $37.68, and why did the market run into trouble there? People will tell you you can't trade support and resistance. It's old-fashioned, horse and buggy. Come on, man. You got to use the algorithms and all the other sophisticated stuff out there. Ken, I see your question, and Valerie will be in touch with you. We'll work something out for you, okay? We believe in no trader left behind. So no matter what financial situation you're in at the moment, we'll bend over backwards to figure out a way to help you. Okay, so just Valerie will see this and she'll be in touch, or Michael, either one. Okay, so we know why. Okay, so and now some people, if you're new to trading, you might go, okay, well, I see that thing you drew. So why is that resistance? Okay, well, back on Friday, the 29th, buyers drove price up to that trend line at 37.74.75. Nobody nowhere was willing to pay 37.75. Why? I don't know. Ask them. Ask all of them. But they weren't. And so price did what price does. It comes back to the BBC. And when price pulls back to the BBC, we expect it to be good support, and it was. Buyers came in, they ran it back up, and on this move up, they were only able to get up to 69.75, 37.69.75. Nobody was willing to pay one tick more. And so price came back to the BBC, and it bounced. Nice bounce. And then the next candle opened. This was at 11 a.m. on Friday morning. When buyers stop buying, this is what happens. It takes financial commitment on the part of buyers to send price higher. And when buyers realize that they're up against a wall that they can't overcome, they stop buying. Why throw good money away? They simply back up and look for a better price to enter at. And so when price is able to go no higher, resistance, it goes looking for support. It failed to find support on this candle at the BBC. Now you'll notice over here, okay, this pullback held, and then we caught another leg, and this pullback held, this pullback held, but notice, see, on this pullback, it led to this big leg. This pullback led to a very short leg. This pullback led to an even shorter leg. Now, the definition of a downtrend, see, there's a high and a lower high. There's a low and a lower low. Right here, it got weird. Okay? We put in a lower low, which means the downtrend's still in effect. But as we pulled up to the BBC, look what happened. Red and falling became blue and climbing. And as I said, that represents support. And so as sellers tried to build another leg to the downside, they ran into support. Support drove us back above the BBC. Over here, on this pull up to the BBC, it held, and it took us all the way down to this week's weekly trading zone at 3657/58. Buyers like that price. They came in force. They drove us up to the BBC. Once we closed above the BBC, and then we opened and closed above the BBC, we had a weekly trading zone right here at 3719/20. Only three things happen at a weekly trading zone. The most likely thing, 70% of the time, is this: consolidation at a zone. Second most likely thing is rejection. This was a big red candle all the way down to that zone, but before the 30-minute candle was finished, buyers came in and ran it up. So the only thing left touching the zone was the wick. Rejection. I said three things can happen. Consolidation, 70% of the time. Rejection, about 20% of the time. And a small percentage of the time, what's called the slice. That's when price slices through a weekly zone like it's not even there. Like this. See this red candle? Slice through the zone like it's not even there. Now what typically happens is when that move that slices through a zone runs out of steam, price will retrace back to the zone that is sliced through, consolidate, and then continue in the direction of the slice. So, textbook example. Most likely thing, consolidation. Second most likely thing, rejection. See, these are 30-minute candles, so that's consolidation. This is a little bit of consolidation here, which brings us up to this area. Remember, back on Friday, nobody was willing to pay one tick higher. So we're faced with that same scenario. Are buyers willing to pay more? If so, then you see this swing high right here at 37.74. That's potential resistance, because the same battle's going on that's going on here. It'll happen again here, and then right here where the bearish cross, this bearish cross took place. If you follow the horizontal line, red line on my cursor, 37.79. That's the next area for resistance overhead. We had a weekly trading zone last week at 37.88. So while visually we don't see the reason for that to be resistance today, the fact that today's only Monday and weekly trading zones have carryover power, this will most likely, doesn't have to, but there's a high degree of probability that if price can overcome this resistance, this resistance, this resistance, it's going to have to deal with last week's zone. When price moves up to a zone, we expect good resistance. When price drops to a zone, we expect good support. And that repeats itself over and over, again and again, day after day. Price is always trying to get to a weekly trading zone from the minute the market's open, Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, till they close Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. Price is trying to get to a zone. How do you know which zone it's trying to get to? If price is below the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. Once price gets above the BBC, then you know it's trying to get to the zone overhead. It's a beautiful textbook example. After consolidating at the zone, we're above the BBC. As price starts to move higher, we know it's trying to get to the zone overhead. That zone, now last week's zones, I highlighted those in yellow. The other ones are this week. Okay, so price is telling us as it starts to move higher, as these little highs, the consolidation highs are taken out, price says I'm trying to get to the zone overhead. Now from the zone at 37.19/20 to the zone at 50/51, that's a 30-point move. At $50 a point, that's $1,500 per contract traded. Once you've earned the right to trade 4 contracts, that trade, that move, pay for your passport. Now, when price runs into resistance that it can't overcome, it will turn around and go look for support. The initial place that we expected to find support is at the BBC. In this case, it was almost like some kind of obsessive compulsive thing. Not only did it pull back to the BBC, it spiked right down to the zone at 37.19/20. So you had a 30-point opportunity, up 30 points, down 30 points, back up. From where we sit now, we got resistance here, here, last week's zone, this week's zone. Okay, so the chart looks very bullish. If you're going to go long, be careful when price hits 37.74. Be careful when price hits 37.77 and then 88. And then there's no obstacles in your path all the way to 38.15. Now, just because there's no obvious obstacle in the way, support and resistance can show up at any time. Now, the weekly zones, those are fixed support and resistance. They're carved in stone for the whole week. Once we publish them, we don't change them. The indicators provide you with dynamic support and resistance. So, if we overcome, there's a little bit of room to run. Okay? That little more room to run, a little more room to run, but the big window of opportunity is up here. Let the market prove itself. Given time, it will. Yeah, but what if I miss all this? Well, so what? Not that you can't trade this, you can. Just be aware of the obstacles in your path to higher prices. But once all the obvious obstacles are out of the way, then you got clear sailing from 37.90 to 38. Let's call it 37.90 to 38.10. The zone's 15. So 25-point move at $50 a point. If you're new, trade it in Sim. I'll put alerts out as soon as I end the show. Now, back to the alerts. Okay, these flow around the clock 24/7. It could come out at 2 a.m. It could come out at 2 p.m. If you don't want to trade at 2 a.m., then just turn notifications off on your phone and Telegram till you wake up and are ready to trade. Okay, and then as soon as you're up and about and ready to think about trading, turn the notifications back on. If something triggered while you were sleeping, there's a high probability it's going to trigger again. Plus, there will be new alerts coming along. Let me look if there's anything in the chat box I haven't covered. I don't think so. Okay. All right. Let me show you the daily chart real quick, because that's normally where we start the show. This is where I recommend all of our traders start their day or start their trading session. Even if you don't trade off a daily chart, and we don't teach you to trade off a daily chart, whether you're trading the range chart like we use in the live training room, or you're trading the 30-minute chart, which the alerts are based on, start your session, whatever market you trade, at the daily chart for that market. This high-level view will let you know where the important or major areas of support and resistance are. And I don't care what anybody tells you, since the inception of the markets till there are no more markets, price will trade from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. Now we provide you with two types of support and resistance. The weekly zones, which is fixed, carved in stone for the whole week. The dynamic support and resistance are your indicators. We actually have an indicator that Michael uses in the live training room. It's called the CFRN S/R dots. Okay, I'll show you what they look like if you've never been in the room. Okay. Now, the last thing the dots printed on the daily chart is resistance. And I don't see the support dots. I must be am I missing them? It goes from support to resistance back to support. This was resistance. Ah, here we go. See how it works? Support, resistance, support, resistance. So the last thing the dots printed were resistance. They've not printed the next set of support dots. Now, because I see this visually, because I've been looking at the charts for a long time, I don't use them on my chart. Doesn't mean you shouldn't. It's simply a matter of preference. You can use them, you cannot use them. Okay? All right. So on the daily chart, in fact, I got a cleaner version. Let's go to that. This it? Yeah. All right. So the most recent significant swing low on the daily chart for the S&P 500 E-mini futures was October the 30th. Swing low 32.1575. The most recent swing high put in on January 26th. When price can go no higher, resistance, it will go look for support. Where did it find support? After it passed through the BBC, which gave us a great bounce, after it passed through the BBC, it found support at the 24% Fibonacci retracement. From the low to the high to the 24% Fib. When the market finds support, can't go any lower, it will go look for resistance, which it did. And it found it at red and falling. And when price finds resistance, it can't go any higher, it will go look for support, okay, which it found at the 24% Fib. Last night when we opened, now these are daily candles, so this represents Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern to Monday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. Today at 5, this candle will stop computing. The markets will close for 1 hour, and then at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight, we'll get a new daily candle. So we opened last night, and we spiked down to the area that I gave you last week on the show. If you missed the last few days, last week, worth watching. Also in the discussion group, you'll see these charts that I posted. Okay. So the initial spot for resistance was right here at the low of the session. We got through that. And the next area for support was the low of this session. And that's right where the market traded to. Buyers came in, drove it up. Now, just as we expect to find support when we pull back to the BBC on every market, every time frame, when we pull up to the BBC, we expect that to be resistance. Remember, when price is above the BBC, that's bullish. We anticipate higher prices. And you can see it in action. Leg, retrace, leg, retrace, leg, retrace, right up to the top. Where we kind of have a little daily top, or a double top right there on the daily chart. So prices come down to an area that logically is support. It's no secret, no witchcraft, no voodoo. Once I teach you how to read price action, how to read the chart, then everything that I'm saying and doing here today, you'll be able to do yourself. Different people learn at different, speeds, so that's one part of how long it will take you. The other part is how much effort you put into it. Are you actually putting on and taking off trades in the simulator? If you're not, it's like watching those videos of Mark Spitz swim. You're never going to learn how to swim. You've got to start somewhere. It's the beautiful thing about the simulator is there's, no financial loss. And when you're on the trial with us, not only does the trial include the room in the morning, everything we have on Telegram, the alerts, the discussion, all of that, you also get this charting platform and you get the indicators, okay? So if you're on a trial or you're just starting a trial, your first step has to be to get the charts and the indicators up and running. Second step, you must get Telegram installed. Now, the trial is free, no credit card required. That includes the platform and the indicators. Telegram is free, period. It's fast, it's secure. There's no advertising, commercials, pop-ups, banners. Okay? It's how we communicate with each other outside of the room. If you have a question at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., just put it in the discussion group. Myself or someone who learned from me will answer the question. And they'll answer it exactly the way I would answer it, because I teach everybody exactly the same. Okay? Okay, so we've rallied up to resistance. Question now, will we stop here, or will buyers power us up to red and falling? So we expect resistance at the BBC. If buyers overcome that, then the next potential area, right now, red and falling gives us a reading of 37.94. So if you are over here on the 30-minute, thinking about going long, $37.94. You should make this notation on your chart because you can't see this dynamic, okay, on the 30-minute chart. So 37.94. You get the idea. 37.94. That's an important resistance area that you cannot see on the 30-minute chart. If you just look left, it looks like, you know, clear skies. That's what I said earlier, clear skies, okay? That's one example of how you use multiple time frames. The daily chart gives you a high level, high altitude view of the market and where. Now remember, we said the BBC, the daily BBC, we got to look at that as resistance first. And the daily BBC looks to be about 37.69. It's on our 30-minute chart. We can also put a line. 37.69. Now, what a teachable moment this is. We already discussed reasons for price to stall at 37.68 based on the 30-minute. Remember, alerts are based on the 30-minute chart. So we knew 37.68 could be potential resistance. First target, second target. Okay. And the reason is that's where we ran into resistance before. And it also happens to be the daily BBC on the daily chart. Even though you don't trade and execute off a daily chart, it is so important that you know where these high-level areas of major support and resistance are. So already we've got some reaction off of the BBC, just a little, okay? If buyers can power through, if they remain committed to their positions, then there's a little window of opportunity, you know, from about 74. Call it 84, just to be conservative. 74 to 84. So that window of opportunity would look like this. 37.74 up to 37.84. Yeah? With me? Now, top of that window, we've got this important area for resistance. So you will have to make a decision. Do you want to try to trade this area here, where you've got potential resistance, or do you want to get above this area and then potentially trade up to last week's zone, which is, hang on, 37.88. Now let's go look at 37.88 on our daily. Does that fit? Beautifully. Let's see, in the chat box, Dwayne, that is a great aha moment. Thanks for the explanation. Excellent, Peter. This bell's for you. Different people have different aha moments at different points in time, and I never know what I'm going to say that's going to bring your aha moment. So I just keep saying the same stuff over and over. They say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Okay, once the student is ready and the teacher has appeared, then I believe when the student is ready, the teaching will appear. And that's just happened right now for Peter. Congratulations. Peter goes on to say, 36.68 resistance, daily BBC, previous 30-minute high. Wow. Yes. That warms my heart, Peter. You don't know. I love that positive, real feedback. Because along with making money, which, you know, trading is income, teaching not only is income, not only is it a separate income stream, not only is it a business unto itself, but it keeps me on top of my game. I can sit and stare at charts for hours and hours and might not have a fresh thought or insight. But the second I start teaching and explaining, and any of you that have ever been a teacher yourself, not in trading, but in any endeavor, any field, you know what I'm talking about. You're standing in front of a class, you're talking, you're pointing with the pointer, or back in the day, writing on the chalkboard, and as you're saying something you already know that you've said 100 times, you have an aha moment. All of my aha moments come when I'm teaching what I already know to someone who doesn't know it yet. The act of teaching and sharing opens your own mind for more information. So people always ask, you know, especially the people who kind of have a chip on their shoulder, for good reason. They're not making any money. They've been lied to, swindled, you know, taken, whatever label you want to. And so they're jaded. They're at a point where they, you know, it's all just a bunch of crap. None of it's real. Well, most of it isn't. You're right. And so when I have a person who has that, and certainly I'm not talking about Peter because Peter has a great spirit. I'm talking about when people come our way who do have that chip on their shoulder. It's so rewarding for me to see that chip get chipped away. Little by little by little by little until they start to have their aha moments. And it's more difficult for that individual because they've kind of built up a wall. You know, they've been taken so many times, they've put up this wall, they're not going to let anybody ever take them again. Well, just keep tuning in. Just keep listening. Just keep watching. And thanks to YouTube, you can go back and listen and watch last week, last month, last year, 2 years ago. You'll hear the same words, the same underlying principles, the same explanations. So when you learn with us, it's like learning to ride a bicycle. Once you learn how to ride it, we're not going to change. Suddenly there's not going to be 3 tires instead of 2, and there's not going to be square tires instead of round tires. It's a lifetime membership. More importantly than that, what you learn will last you a lifetime. And you'll take what you learn and you'll build your own world. Because we're just giving you the basic underlying principles. And with that foundation, you can build anything. Now, the guy that just left the Dogecoin group, I'm kind of glad because he was just posting funny symbols and stuff. Oh, for those of you that are following the Dogecoin, D-O-G-E-C-O-I-N, if you search in Telegram, we started a discussion group yesterday. The Wall Street Bets guys are in the process of, they already ran it up from below a penny to like 6 cents, and it pulled all the way back to like 2 cents. I haven't even looked at it today. Which reminds me, I'll be in touch with you. You know who I'm talking about. Because I should be able to, we'll finish up what we started. Anyway, I want to get a hold of Garrett, see if he wants to come on the show. Before let me just invite him now. This is live radio.
Hi, Dwayne.
Garrett, I'm so sorry I missed your call, but I was just in the middle of something and I couldn't pick up, and everybody on the live radio heard the phone ring, but I wanted to ask you to pop in if you can.
Oh,
Love to hear your thoughts about all that's happening in the markets. If you can't, that's okay, but I wanted you to... It's okay.
I'm just thinking, how about would tomorrow work?
Sure. We're here every day.
Yeah. How's everything? You heard about me
Yep.
and what I've been dealing with.
Well, you're on live radio right now, so hang tight. I don't know how far you want to go with that.
Oh, if I'm on. Oh, I was just. I just had. My partner Peter in the hospital with the COVID for over a month.
My best friend, the guy who helped me pioneer our work in Africa, he passed last week. So I'm still dealing with that. Best friend, pastor for many years, and he was, he succumbed to the corona.
Was it the virus?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Well, listen, I gotta jump back on the radio because everybody's listening to our conversation. But tomorrow, why don't you pop on about?
Yeah, I'd love to. Tomorrow.
About 1:15 Eastern.
1:15.
Mm-hmm.
So 10:15 my time.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
Good to hear your voice.
You too. And if you want to talk this afternoon, just call me. I'll be done with the show here in about a half hour.
Okay, yeah, and say hi to everybody on your. Just tell them what's happened. I've had 2 very close people, that I've been trying to help.
All right, brother.
All right.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, there you go, guys. As I said, live radio, nothing carefully scripted. So, raw radio. So on the daily chart, we know we have potential resistance right there at red and falling, 37.95. We're up against support at the daily BBC, which looks to be about 37.69. What's the high of this daily candle? Session high. is 37.70 half. So it looks like we poked over. Let me go back to that other chart, daily chart. Is that it? Yeah. So, yeah. We opened the session here. We traded lower to here. I already showed you that trade. It was the first trade that came out last night. It took us from here down to here. Buyers came in. They've driven us back up to the daily VBC and the step line. We expect that to be good resistance until proven otherwise. If we get through there, next resistance, red and falling. After that, this swing high, and then this swing high. And if we take out this double top on the daily chart, our Fibonacci price extensions, that's different from the Fibonacci price retracements. Okay, from the low to the high, we've already pulled back to that 24% fib. Once, twice, 3 times, and on this session we spiked it. Now the 38% fib retracement is down here at 36.15. Okay, but we're heading the other way. We're up against resistance. If we can get through this, next resistance is there, then there, and if we take out that double top using 14th century math, next target overhead would be 39.47, 40,023, 40.99, 42.07. Now, fibs are an area. So even though this retracement took us to the 24% fib, 24% fib is 37.10, but you can see that the swing low, let me open this up. The swing low was actually 37.06 and a half. So spiked it by about 4 points. And then on this day, we spiked down to 37.03. This day we took it out. And, oh, you know what? You know what I'm seeing? The swing high is still in place. But when I originally did the Fibonacci price extensions, it's real important. I want you to see how I do this, okay? When you're using the retracement tool, you go from the low to the high, and based on 14th century math, it shows you where potential support levels are on the pullback. Very reliable, but not a standalone trading methodology. At the time I did the Fibonacci price extensions, which is this tool. In fact, I'm going to just redo them because something has changed. What's changed? We have a deeper retracement. So let's get rid of those. Okay. Now, this low's never going to change. I mean, unless price comes way down and takes it out, but this high put in on January 26th, when that gets taken out, then and we'll have to adjust our fibs to compensate for the new high. The retracement tool works like this. I'm sorry, the extension tool, Fibonacci price extension. So we're going to go from that same low to the new all-time historic intraday high, right there. Then we're going to grab this, which I can't do because of the fibs, so let me get rid of them for a minute. Can always put them back. And now I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to connect it to that low. Let's see how good a job I did. Remember, it's an area, so you don't have to get it right exactly on it. Get that line out of the way. Okay. That swing low is 56.5. So I want this to be as close to 56.5 as I can get it. That's about right. Close enough. Okay, now what that does, Fibonacci price retracements tells us where the market may find support, and it did at the 24% retracement. Now it spiked it, rallied back up. If price can overcome the 24% extension, then it has to deal with this double top. And then based on math, not politics or pandemics or anything else, just math, overhead target, overhead target, overhead target, all the way up. Now let's put our retracements back on here. The extensions tell us where price may go in the future. The retracements tell us where to expect support on a retracement. So from the low to the high, there we go. 24% Fibonacci retracement. Now that is, you need to understand this, okay? This 24% Fibonacci retracement is based upon this low and this high. Did I get that right? Close enough. Yep, overshot it. Yes, we're good. Okay. So I went from that low to this high. So the 24% Fibonacci retracement only applies to everything after the swing high that I just connected it to. So as you can see, price came right down to the 24% fib and bounced. Session closed, next session opened, it came back down to the 24% fib, held, bounced all the way up to red and falling. Sellers drove it back down to close below the BBC. This was the first time we closed below the BBC on the daily chart since November 3rd. No, I'm sorry, that's not true. Well, yeah, November 3rd, it was a green candle, but it closed below. Okay. Now, the first red candle, the last red candle that closed coming down was right here on October 26th. So what happened here, you see that again here. All these pullbacks along the way, each time they closed above the BBC. So it was kind of a big deal. Come down to the 24, put a double bottom, bounces us up to red and falling. Then we close below the BBC. We open the following session. And that takes us down to this low, which lines up with those lows right there. And then last night we opened and we dipped to that low, and I just moved this a minute ago, so let me move it back in place. Okay. There we go. So what happens from here? Great question. If we stall out, if buyers stop buying, retracement. If we can get above red and falling, then a rally back up to resistance. And if we can get above that resistance, then you've got upside targets based on the daily chart. But we don't trade the daily, we trade the 30-minute for alerts. And we do use smaller time frames to help us with our stop loss. As I said, on alerts, we don't want to risk more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible, using market structure and a simple 3-step method I teach. There's all kinds of different ways to set your stop loss. Some people just use, like, well, I don't want to risk more than $300 or $500 or whatever the case might be. They use a one-size-fits-all. But, and we do that in the training room for simplicity's sake. We use an 8-tick hard stop. But every trade set up in the market is a unique moment in the market. And every unique window of opportunity requires a unique stop loss using that same simple method that I teach you. We literally ask the chart, hey chart, I'm going to trigger in right here. Where does my stop need to be? And the chart will tell you. And if the spot the chart gives you is more than $300 per contract per trade, you go to step 2. And if that won't fly, you go to step 3. And if that won't fly, then you have to exercise patience and self-discipline and wait for the trade to trigger again. Once an alert triggers, it's a greater possibility of it triggering multiple times than not. Okay? Now, let's see. Fred had a question. Hey, Fred. Can the market be that strong with all the bad economic policies the new administration is doing? Maybe I should not be thinking of those. Well, Fred, I mean, you make an excellent point. The outlook for our economy is very dire. Okay, Fed going to print all this money to fund this relief package, which I guess no one would argue that certainly we need this economic stimulus package. But from an economic viewpoint, it is bad for the big picture. And so we're technical traders. So even though fundamentally we may not agree with what's happening, we literally have to turn that part of our brain off and just trade what's in front of us. So that's a great question, a great observation. I'm glad that you asked it. This is why, for so long, we've been looking for this. And I don't think this is over, okay? We've already taken out the 24% fib, so the next fib is the 38%, which is down at 36.14. And so there's a swing low right there, swing low right there. We had daily consolidation here for a number of sessions. And so if we get rejected at the BBC or at red and falling on the way down, all the areas we've talked about can be potential support, but ultimately it takes us to the 38% Fibonacci retracement. And after that, if that doesn't hold, there's the 50. Now, as we began this leg up, the pandemic recovery leg, we put in a swing high here, and we retraced back to here. That's an important price, important area. And it just so happens that that swing low now lines up with the 50% Fibonacci retracement. And some might say, well, come on, there's no way we're going to get a 50% retracement on the daily chart. Well, why not? It's happened before. In fact, we can use this example right here in front of us. Now, before any of this happened, let's say we're just looking at this. Like that. There we go. Okay. From the swing low to the swing high, we not only did a 24%, a 38%, a 50%, a 62%, we almost did a 100% retracement. So, even though your mind might say, hey, that's not possible, no way we're going to sell off to that degree, embrace all possibilities. Anything can happen, and often does. 50%. See how this high, at all this consolidation, and this low, and would that mark the end of the world as we know it? No. It is the deep retracements that keep the bull healthy. I mean, these are very shallow retracements. I mean, we just recently got a 24% retracement, and look what happened when we hit that 24% fib. We bounced from 37.08 up to the high of this candle, which was 38.23. It's over 100 S&P points, which is over 1,000 Dow points, to red and falling, which we expect to be resistance, which sent us down back to the 24% fib, and then some. So I'll go on the record as saying my narrative, my technical analysis leads me to think we'll see a 38% Fibonacci retracement before we take out these highs. And if we see a 38% retracement, that's going to give us a huge bounce. But I also believe that once that 38 is taken out, that opens the door to the 50. And that 50 looks very compelling. This high, to all this consolidation, to this low. It in my mind's eye, and I have an active imagination, it's beckoning, it's calling, it's saying, hey, come on down, right? So, okay. Covered a lot of ground. Now, let me just show you this, one last thing. Along with the Logic 247 alerts, we also have the Concierge Trade Alerts. This is a public service announcement, if you will, issued shortly after the Globex Open each evening. It's forward guidance for the entire session. 2 numbers for each market. So you should draw 2 lines in the sand on your 30-minute chart. A DT Pro allows you to have 10 charts open. So you can have, several S&P charts. You can have a 30-minute, a 5-minute, a daily, and then you can have even another 30-minute that you've got set in trade mode. If price, and someone asked this question earlier this morning, I think in the live training room, and that was such a great question. You said, well, what if price is like making its way to that number. Can I trade that journey up to the number? Absolutely, if the chart supports it. And the same as if price is, dropping in the direction of this CTA number. Absolutely, if the chart supports it, you can be short down to this number. You can get short at this number. But the warning is, once you get below this number, you should only be looking for short trades. Once you get above this number, you should only be looking for long trades. So if you want to grab a screenshot, go ahead real quick. Normally on the afternoon broadcast, I go through every one of these step for step, but we're out of time today. But let me just give you an example on a 30-minute chart, S&P. Last night's CTA number for the S&P was to be long at or above 3760. So 3760 is right here. $37.60. Okay, so that was a CTA, Concierge Trade Alert. Forward guidance, numbers good for the entire session. CTA to buy or be long at 37.60. So the question this morning, and the little training session I did after the live training room, was, can we get long on the move up to that number? You can sit in the front of the class. That's a great question. And the answer is absolutely yes. As long as price is above the BBC, you have to recognize that you got a weekly zone here, which is potential resistance like it was here and here. Finally got through here. So once price gets above that zone, 50/51, and getting above the zone puts you above this bearish cross. So if you wanted to get long, say 37.54, for the run up to 37.60, absolutely. And you could still be in the trade. So when I say put two lines in the sand, the short side is 36.49, which is way, way, way down here. Yeah, somewhere there. Okay, but you get the idea. Price gets above the BBC, then that tells us that we're trying to get to the zone overhead, which we already talked about. From zone to zone, 30 points. Back to the zone, 30 points. Back up to the zone, 30 points. We're talking the potential for 30, 60, 90 points, but wait, there's more. 120. 30. No, I'm sorry, I overcounted. 30, 60, 90. Zone to zone to zone to zone. 30, 60, 90. Now, if you happen to go from zone to zone, and if you did that, which I'm sure you probably didn't, but if you did, I mean, it's right there. I said we're not the woulda, coulda, shoulda people, so I don't want to step over that line, because everything we put out as an official alert, it's always before it happens, okay? When we trade in the room in the morning, okay, everything's done as it's happening. We don't do stuff and then talk about it after the fact. That's what the other guys do. We try not to be the other guys. But if you think about it, 30, 60, 90, at $50 a point, that's How much? Did you say $4,500 per contract? Yep. And how much is the passport? Funny you should ask. $49.97. $5,000. I have a little sticky note. Where'd it go? Here it is. If you didn't know, Windows 10 has these things called widgets. All kinds of little stuff. Clocks and thermometers and other stuff. And it has digital post-it notes. Everybody remembers post-it notes. Little known fact, it was either Mike Nesmith or was it Keith Dolan? I probably got their names all messed up. One of the Monkees, the band, his mother invented the 3M post-it note. I know. See how much stuff you can learn watching and listening to this show? Stuff you may not, Fun facts to know and tell. Anyway, lifetime memberships, $49.97. No recurring monthly fees, no upsells. Access to everything we do. The training room every day, as much one-on-one mentoring as you need. Each session's 45 minutes. You just go to the site, you find a day, a time convenient for you, you book it. Then you and I, or you and Michael, or you and Valerie, we spend 45 minutes together in a go-to meeting environment, helping you to grasp or understand anything you weren't able to get a hold of in the group session. Now, for those who are brand new, I highly recommend that you book at least one session a week. Whether you think you need it or not, you do. And it's free, and you have unlimited access, so why not? Because remember, how long it takes you to quote-unquote get it, right, is relative to how much time you spend in the water, in the pool. If you just watch Michael trade in the morning, it's not going to, you're going to understand a lot about trading. You're going to understand the rules and all that stuff. But it's not going to make you a trader. If you watch the alerts come by every day, and then you look at the recap and go, woo-wee, that's so awesome. Yeah? But you're still on the outside looking in with your nose pressed up against the glass. Come inside. Get the charts charting, the indicators indicating, the alerts flowing in Telegram. Introduce yourself in the discussion group. Hey, I'm whoever, brand new. Thanks for having me. And people will treat you the way you want to be treated. We don't put up with any foolishness. Anybody that gets... And you know what? By the grace of God, I can't even remember last time. Now I say this, so it'll probably knock on wood like Michael does. We don't seem to attract the bad element. The people you find on the Raging Bulls of the world and the Traders Laboratories who are always moaning and complaining and going on about something. And you know what? Probably for good reason, because somebody probably did wrong them. Somebody probably overcharged them for something that didn't turn out to be what it was supposed to be. So, as part of your trial with us, if you've already used up your trial and you just want to get started, do this. Go to eminifuturestrading.com. Click this button, take care of business. Valerie will spring into action and she'll get you out everything you need. She'll make sure you've got your charts charting, your indicators indicating. She'll give you access to all of the Telegram channels, because as a member, as a passport holder, you have access to everything we do for life. Okay? And always ask questions. There's no question too simple, too basic. We know that people coming in are at all different levels. Now, you may have been struggling for a while. We've got traders who came to us after years of trying to learn, who've spent 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 and more. Paying for courses, paying for indicators, attending seminars, trying to learn how to trade. They found us, and a lot of them almost didn't become a member because it was too cheap. Oh, I paid $20,000 for this software, or I paid $50,000 for this membership. So it would almost be beneath my dignity to go now and chase some $5,000 thing. I mean, if it's only $5,000, how much value could it really have? Yeah, it's up to you to decide. Go to the discussion group, talk to our traders. I don't pay them to blow smoke up your chimney. I don't encourage them to just say nice things. I want them to tell you the truth. I want them to share their real experience, if you ask. Because when somebody's honest, you can tell. When it comes from the heart, you can tell. When they're reciting from a script, you can tell. Yeah. So if you still have access to the trial, if you haven't burned up all your trials, then take the trial. To take the trial, you do this. If you've used up all your trials, go here and become a passport holder. You only get 2 per life, so use it wisely. And those 2 have to be 6 months apart. And yes, we track by IP address. So anyway, if you've never taken a trial, or you still qualify for a trial, go to emini-trainingschool.com. Click here, sign up for the trial. During your 1 week's trial, you'll have access to everything we do, except the members only meeting on Thursday night. At the end of your 5-day trial, everything stops working. Your access to the Telegram channels expire, your indicators expire, everything. This is why it's so important that you take full advantage of the 5 days you have, because that's at no charge, no credit card. You say you want to learn how to trade, we believe you. We'll do everything we can to teach you as much as we can and help you as much as we can during those 5 days. At the end of 5 days, you make a well-informed, intelligent decision if what we do is right for you. Okay? All right. So that brings us to the end of this radio broadcast, but we always end with our good word for the day. And today, our good word is strength through sharing. Acts 19:18. Many of the believers began to confess openly. I'm talking about the upper room here in Acts. This is where the Holy Spirit, remember Jesus says, I got to go so that I can send you the Comforter, the Holy Spirit. And so the guys were waiting in the upper room for the Holy Spirit to come. And we know that it came like a mighty rushing wind. It was as though tongues of fire set on top of their head. They began to speak in other languages, not native to their own tongue. The parallels here are just, but I won't go into all those. Acts 19:18. Also, many of those who were now believers came confessing and divulging their practices. Maybe I should rename our discussion group the upper room, the E-mini upper room. Anyway, Speaking about the church at Ephesus, Paul writes, many of the believers began to confess openly and tell all the evil things they had done. So in a powerful way, the word of the Lord kept spreading and growing. See, they spoke openly and freely to one another about all the mistakes they had made. When you come and become a part of our group, our upper room, you can share, if you want, the mistakes you've made, the traps, the pitfalls, and nobody's going to make fun of you. Nobody's going to laugh at you. They'll try to comfort you and help you understand that you've, stumbled upon a place where you can find help. Okay? Now, we're not Jesus and we're not the Holy Spirit, but we are believers. And we behave the way believers are supposed to behave by supporting and loving one another. Jesus said, "You shall know them by their love." Spiritual healing happens in churches like the one at Ephesus. So if you find yourself trapped in a pattern of repeated failure, seek out mature, committed Christians who aren't shocked by your problem, who won't divulge your confidence, and who know how to pray for you and with you. And that discussion group, if you post in there, that's public, okay? So you can decide if you want to have a private conversation with me or with Valerie or with anyone in that discussion group. Maybe some guy just put a post and you got a question, but you don't really want to ask everybody. You can click on their name, their picture. You can send them a private message. Okay? And because of the spirit of the people that we have here, I don't think anyone's going to get on you about sending them a private message. I think they'll be very glad that you've given them an opportunity to share their own experience with you. Jesus gave his followers the authority to hear confessions and proclaim grace. John 20:23. If you forgive the sins of any, they are forgiven them. If you retain the sins of any, they are retained. That's John 20:23. A spiritual cleansing is released when someone looks you in the face and says, God forgives you. I forgive you. Now, and this is sometimes the toughest part, now forgive yourself and walk in God's forgiveness. Forgiveness is such a powerful force that it facilitates the healing process. James writes in James 5:14, "Is anyone among you sick? Let them call the elders of the church to pray over them and anoint them with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer offered in faith will make the sick person well, and the Lord will raise them up. If they have sinned, they will be forgiven. Therefore, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed." The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. And if you're not sure who you should talk to or who you can trust, in spiritual matters, maybe you start with your pastor or a good Christian counselor. And if it has to do with things of trading, spend some time in the discussion group and just watch the traffic. Watch the discussion. See what different people post and say. And you could even say this prayer: Lord, I do need some help. I do need some guidance. Help me to spot that person that maybe I can send a private message to, that I could connect with. That, you know, maybe we could become friends. You can always private message me or Valerie anytime. Now, let me just say this. If you start sending private messages about some investment or some other trading group or some link to click, trust me, the person that you private message will report that to me, and I'll speak with you about it first. I'll ask you not to do that. And then, as a matter of last resort, I'll have to give you the boot. Okay? And I don't want to do that. So, you should, though, feel absolutely 100% comfortable with reaching out to me or anyone else in the group about any kind of help you need. Maybe you just need prayer. Maybe you just need a prayer partner. Maybe you need an accountability partner. You could even post a message publicly that says, hey, I'm new to this group. Haven't had a chance to meet you guys yet. Here's a little information about me, things I've been through. If there's anyone in the group right now that would be interested in perhaps being my accountability partner or prayer partner, please send me a private message. I don't want to guarantee you, but chances are you'll get a response pretty quick, because we have a great group of people here, all through God's grace. This thing is so wonderfully put together and orchestrated that I could never, ever in my wildest dreams take credit for it. Michael and I had a dream, a vision, back in 2006. And I say now, obviously, a God-inspired vision, because the things that he and I talked about and saw as our future, it's all come to pass. That's when you know that it's not you and it is God. Because it not only happens, but happens in ways better than you could have even imagined. That's our good word for the day. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. Call Valerie at 949-42-E-MANY. Email us support@cfrn.net. Now, we answer all phone calls or return phone calls and emails, etc. But if you want instantaneous service, go to, in Telegram, we even have a support channel. Just search in Telegram, CFRN support. It'll bring up our support channel. Type a message. Valerie will answer. Okay? And we'll help you with whatever it is you need. Okay. That's going to do it. I am going to play a video after I sign off from our YouTube broadcast, because I don't want to get involved in copyright issues. So I'm going to close out the show the way I normally do, but if you want to stick around, I'm going to play the live version of The Blessing, and to the best of my knowledge, it's the first time The Blessing, written by Carrie Job and Steve Furtick and a few others, was performed publicly. So thanks so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.